Hey guys, it's me again. Today I'll be reviewing Alien. Unlike in Predator, where I said it was an action movie which had horror aspects, this is a full-on horror movie. So there's a lot of a darker tone to it. This movie was revolutionary because it was one of the main horror movies in the science fiction genre, and for many people it's considered one of the most scary horror movies of all time. I don't find this movie scary, but I find a lot of things people wouldn't find scary terrifying. This movie begins when a cruise ship, which I believe is called the Aurora Borealis, but don't quote me on that, gets a distress call. And when they go to check out this distress call, they find a whole lot of eggs. One of these eggs releases a device called a facehugger, which attaches to the face in this sort of manner. A facehugger is a little living creature that, once attaches to a face, will lay eggs through the mouth and will cause a person of any gender to give birth to a xenomorph. A xenomorph being the main franchise's alien in the entire movie series. Xenomorphs have become horror icons because of their interesting design and the fact they have no eyes and can mainly tell through a sense of smell where their prey is. This is unrelated to the movie itself. Acting in this movie is, I'm going to say, phenomenal because we have Sigourney Weaver.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Sigourney Weaver's acting in this movie is intensely amazing. I don't know if that's a word, but yes, it is. Just that it is definitely Oscar worthy, and she's one of the main kick-ass feminine icons of the last century, because she truly is what all other movies, when they release movies with a strong female character, is exactly what they are aiming for. I can't really talk about any of the other performances because I do not want to ruin the plot of this movie. I would just like to say that although I love this movie, I believe the sequel is a lot better. Eventually I'll get around to talking about said sequel. But, this movie has a very dark theme, as I have just previously said at the beginning of this review. Then, my previous review of Predator, it has a lot of a darker, more horror-based atmosphere, which I've already stated, but I just want to stress this. Do not go in expecting not a happy, but a action-based movie. It is a very suspense horror, very similar to the Alien Isolation video game that was released in recent years. There's not really much to talk about when it comes to movie score, because unlike Predator, I have not nearly seen this movie enough times to be able to talk about the score. I wish I could, because from what I remember of it, I enjoyed the score of this movie. When I say score, it's usually people who don't know, it is the music that is played throughout the movie. I just thought I'd stress that point. But yes, this movie fits more into the horror genre, as I have already keep saying. I'm just stressing this as much as I can, than the science fiction. So do not expect a fun science fiction adventure or action movie as you would get from Predator. Most people consider these two movies, Predator and Alien, in the same universe. I know this is off topic, but I thought I'd mention this. There was no intent to put these movies together until a slight Easter egg in Predator 2, where you see a xenomorph skull on board a Predator spaceship. So there were no references to Predator, which I think is a good thing, because actually saying that, I don't think Predator was released until after the first Alien. I will have to double check that and edit this in once I remember to check. But yeah, I just wanted to stress it's not. It's completely different. But yeah, this movie, some people would say, isn't much in the plot department, but it isn't. It gets straight, within the first 20 to 30 minutes, gets straight into the horror aspect, which is brought up through the rest of the movie. If you enjoy horror movies, I'd recommend checking out both cuts of this movie, both the special edition and the theoretical cut. If you want to see both cuts, I'd recommend picking up the Alien Anthology Blu-ray collection that comes in a box like this. There is also a blue version of this box, but pick up this one as it is the one that contains all the bonus features and the making of documentaries that I can highly recommend. This is not my favourite adaptation of the Alien franchise. My favourite instalment would be Aliens, being plural with an S. Why it is my favourite is because it is an amazing movie. I will be talking about this movie, possibly not as my next movie, but somewhere along the line. The director of this movie was Ridley Scott. Just my final thing I'm going to say. Ridley Scott is an amazing director. He is responsible for one of the greatest movies of last year, The Martian. And, well, I don't want to say much about the plot. That's why I've been trying to avoid it, because you've got to experience this movie to truly understand the plot and truly understand the whole feel of the film. Because it's you don't want to say anything about it because it will take away from some of the aspect. I would just say the most iconic scene, this is a bit of a spoiler alert, where one of the characters dies through the giving birth to an alien, was amazing, and genuine reactions, as the rest of the actors on set had no idea that he was going to start vomiting everywhere and that an alien would burst through his chest. So those reactions you see on screen are genuine aspects of horror, things you would not be able to get away with today. So it helps build this atmosphere of unknowing. I know this hasn't been much of a review, more of my thoughts on the subject, but it's really hard to review a movie like this, at least for me, because I don't like talking about spoilers. So, sorry about the long time between uploads. I've had a lot going on my plate with schoolwork. But, let's just say, I will hopefully be uploading again in the next few days. Hope you enjoyed this video, and goodbye. By the way, my last video has nearly reached 50 views, which I think is an amazing achievement, because I was really concerned that I was doing this for no reason, because it's truly a subject I care about. There's it's like a little footnote, but next time I'm probably going to talk about some sort of comic book movie, because I'm a big fan of the genre. Also, perhaps a special video with another YouTube channel that I'm in talks with the creator of. Bit unrelated, but I couldn't resist saying it. But anyway, my final thoughts on this movie. You need to see it before you can really understand it, because I'm not the best person to ask for a review of this movie, because I don't want to spoil anything so unique as this. That was not a sentence, but yeah. This movie truly has a unique feel, and it's something that I don't think can be duplicated, that I will get into if I ever end up reviewing Alien 3/4. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you haven't already, like and share. See you later. Good.